people are like, I'm going to go volunteer at the animal shelter. I said, go have fun. Because if I went down there, I'd be like, listen, how many of these dogs do you think we could fit in the back of my car?
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Okay.
I'd be like, how
I don't
often...
care. Pick whichever ones you want. Just do it and get them in there. Well. I can't even go inside.
I'd be like, how often can we come in here? They'd be like, yo, this is your 10th time.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't had a dog for more than a week. Like, are you killing
you buy
these
the
dogs?
house right behind it.
Or are you keeping these dogs?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why don't you give me another one? We'll find out.
That's terrible.
But anyway, we're here with episode 42 of Your House, Our Rules. Have been on a hiatus for some time. Summertime kind of got the best of us, doing a lot of shit. Also, it's been a little bit of a struggle for me if I can find the motivation to do things. But, kind of got into the swing of things where I was talking to Wallet, and Wallet was trying to, Mike Wallet, and we have Bailey and Mike back on the podcast today, familiar faces. Was talking to him a little bit about, setting up his own podcast, Realtor Uncensored, and he actually recorded an episode or whatever, and it never panned out. Was going through a little bit of shit, and I didn't necessarily edit it and figure it out, but kind of got to a point where I was talking to him about maybe just, because we bounce off each other so well, to just have him on the podcast, and then that way, he can kind of financially support it, and then I give a fucking platform for him to speak on and stuff like that. And with me and Bailey doing our thing, because Bailey's been on probably the most episodes at this point outside of Harmeyer and Max, who started it with me. So now that we're there, we have this 3. I'd get used to having both of these people on here. We got a setup. We got Pro Tools now. We're recording on each individual mics. Might get another one. Hopefully we can have 4 people. Testing things out a little bit. The camera angles might be a little bit weird, but that's because we couldn't necessarily get it set up. So we're here with episode 42. These are my new co-hosts, Bailey Earnhardt and Mike Wallet. You already know them, so I don't really want to introduce. If you guys got anything to say, go ahead and...
Well, I appreciate you having us on. It's my first time meeting Bailey. Bailey, you're cool as shit.
Yeah, this is actually your first time meeting.
You're all right.
Yeah, no, trust me. I've heard worse today, so it's fine. I appreciate that. That's a compliment in my eyes. Cool, how many times do you think you've been on this podcast?
No, fuck.
Probably 5 or 6.
A lot.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because we kind of came up with the thing when she started doing Your House, Our Rules, because as a lot of us who have watched know, she does the production side of things. She's our live event type person. I let her do the thing, and I help with her and bounce ideas, but at the end of the day, it's her thing. She's the one who runs that. And then she's kind of the vice president of the entire Your House, Our Rules. It's my brand, which I started. So, but I put a lot of input into what she has to say. So, and me and you have got closest doing these afterwards, talking and doing. You've helped me through a lot of shit, and I thank you for that.
For sure, man.
So, I respect your opinion too. We're probably gonna start a little bit of a group chat with, I'm gonna have Jack, who's down in Tennessee. He's talking about doing some sports related things. And doing he wants to move forward into an individual podcast, like Brett on the last episode that we had.
Yeah.
I think that was the second to last episode that we had, but he's probably going to release some shit on Your House, Our Rules. I'm helping him get that set up. So we're going to have a nice little group chat for business only.
Sweet.
Talk about that, talk about stuff that we can talk about on the podcast, sports events for him, talk about promotion, just music to share and stuff like that. Big things coming.
Cool. All about the business.
Big things coming. So,
be cool to be able to do one of these, and we get so many people and do one of these in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Have it set, have all the equipment and figure it out and set it up and where it would work and shit. That'd be awesome.
That was the plan tonight. I wanted to set up in because I want to have a mobile. That's
living room, kitchen, basement.
Yeah. Now that we have the dynamic microphones, because back when we had the condenser microphone, which you would see, I'd have people share because that's just so sensitive and pick stuff up.
Right.
Now that we don't have that, we can kind of mute out the noise of the room because that would always pick up so much shit.
Right.
So now that we have each individual ones, I have Pro Tools where everything's on each individual track. I can edit out. My cousin Jeff was on a couple episodes ago, and he was wheezing into the mic, and I couldn't get rid of it because it was a condenser mic and stuff like that. Now that I have,
he
was wheezing, bro. It was so bad.
Can you give us a detailed
straight up asthmatic fucking cancer patient, bro. No, well, Jeff's fat as fuck now, dude.
Is he?
Yeah, Jeff's Jeff's 265, bro. His fat ass is fucking. They always call me.
Hopefully, he doesn't
Jeff.
Listen to this episode.
I know.
I was talking shit to him on the episode he was on, because they always call me.
He's Jeff.
They always call me.
I don't think I know him, but
Jeff's my cousin. Just my cousin.
Shout out to Jeff, man.
And
I got you.
We all look alike in the family, but Jeff looks like the most like me. And he lived down in Tennessee with that whole crew down there in Nashville that I've told you about.
Right.
And so everyone would be like, "Bro, you're fucking Ugly Jeff," and they'd call me Ugly Jeff. And I'm like, "Well, now if I'm Ugly Jeff, he moved back up to Cincinnati and got fat. That's Fat Keith." So but he was like wheezing on the mic. Now I can like edit that out, and we have a little bit more control over everything. If we get a fourth mic, we can have people come on. Now I know Bailey's really busy doing a lot of things. She just got engaged, and I do want to bring that up real quick. With the Lost Lands,
congratulations.
Congratulations, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are fucking great together, and I'm fucking super excited to see what happens moving forward with your guys' relationship.
He thinks we're gonna not be together.
No. I just warned you.
I guarantee he was
doesn't.
shedding tears when he.
I felt some type of way.
He said he did.
That's his way of saying that he did that. I felt some type of way.
Yeah, I think he did.
I got you.
Back off the mic just a little bit.
You back off the mic.
Okay, well, you back off me, bitch.
Quit trying to deep throat the mic.
I know, seriously. You sound like you're wheezing.
It'll be all right.
Wheezy.
Oh, God, no. I'm not being that little rapper. But, yes, congratulations to Bailey on doing that and moving forward. We're going to start the episode now. So, big thing that happened in this week that a lot of people are talking about is the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight that happened. And I don't think any of us actually watched the fight.
No, I just watched highlights.
I watched the highlights of the fight. Yeah. I think you wanted to talk a little bit more about like the pay-per-view side of things and like how that got. I did watch the highlights of the fight, and a lot of people are coming out, and that's why it's such a hot topic that it's like rigged or whatever. Watching the fight, Anderson Silva, he's not very far removed from MMA, and he also had 4 boxing fights before that. And watching the fight, from what I saw from the highlights and what I could gather of it, obviously I'm not watching the whole thing, so I don't have the fucking best view of what's going on. But it seemed like Anderson Silva was standing around a bit, which he is a counter striker, and that's what he does. He likes to stand back, dodge, and then poke.
That's why
they
call him Spider.
Seemed a little bit.
Gets in there.
Seemed a little bit more attentive in this fight. And
well, he's also old.
Yeah.
So.
Even like you watch the fight with him and fucking Israel Adesanya, who's the current middleweight champ. He would counter-strike in that, and he did all right in that fight. Ever since he broke his leg again on Weidman's leg back in the day when he was like 12-0 as a champ or whatever, just like dominating the
that
MMA.
changed. That things have changed ever since that injury.
Yes, and it has. And like even then, like that was like almost a decade ago at this point. Maybe not quite, but he was like late 30s at that point in time, but still dominating and stuff like that. The dude can still strike, and like a lot of people were saying he was winded in the fight. From what I saw, he wasn't. A lot of people are saying it was rigged because he didn't necessarily fucking like punch back as much, and I did see that. But a lot of people were saying the last hit that he got when he knocked him down in the last round, that he didn't actually hit him. But he did.
Jake?
He did.
Jake?
Oh, yeah. He hit him.
Jake hit him hard.
He connected.
I think Jake has super hard punches.
He does.
I think his punches are just... And if they do connect, that's why he knocks people out.
Well, for sure.
Look
at what happened with Woodley the last fight.
Yeah.
He was out.
Oh, no.
I'm like, it's not even out. I'm like, is that guy dead?
Yeah.
And Askren and Robinson. Like, the dude throws bombs.
Yes.
He really does.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found impressive about the fight, you can say it's rigged or whatever, but the fact is he did 3 8-minute rounds, and which is like a professional fight. Actually, I think professionals are 12.
Professional is 12 rounds,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so he still 3 8-minute rounds or 8 3-minute rounds. Like, for him to do that and throwing bombs like he does, usually those people who throw with that amount of powder, they don't have the stamina.
Yep.
And, like, he lasted the whole time. He was definitely tired at the end of it. But, for him to be able to do that and still throw those bombs like he did, it's impressive.
For sure.
And Anderson is a slick motherfucker. Like,
Very
he's hard
slick.
to hit. Hard to hit. It's always been his thing.
But it's hard to have that same game in boxing as what you are in MMA.
Well, yeah,
because you if you're you got to be a little bit more defensive in boxing than you would be.
So I listened.
Well,
because you have your legs that you can use in MMA.
That was one of the
reasons. So you aren't as close and connected, because in boxing you're using your hands. So whatever your reach is, you need to be that close.
So that was one of the reasons why I think that he wasn't necessarily, because boxing. Anderson Silva is the most boxing oriented fighter that he's ever had, because he is a pure striker, and he always has been. I mean, the dude still has a black belt in jiu-jitsu and is a fucking amazing grappler and stuff like that. But like The dude is really good at dodging and fucking hitting back.
For sure.
I think the fact that he wasn't able to use like his knees and legs and throw elbows and stuff like that or wrap him up, it's a little bit different, and that might be why he wasn't necessarily getting the strikes in that he could have, even though he did have 4 fights. But you know, it's just one of those things where like he's also older, not as fast, and.
What was the weight difference? Was like the weight differential?
This is the first fight that Jake Paul has actually had that he is actually matched up against someone who is his size.
Because it looked like Jake Paul, muscular, was bigger and probably.
I think Jake Paul is technically bigger.
Yeah, see, like I thought he weighed. I would assume he weighed more than what Anderson Silva.
I don't
did.
think any of the other fights. I don't think any of the other fights that he had they did because he fighting like Ben Askren might have been because he's a bigger dude. He's just not a striker. He's a wrestler.
It didn't look like Anderson Silva. You compare the two of them, put them together.
He's height-wise, I think Anderson was actually an inch taller than him.
Yeah.
He doesn't look as thick, and that might be
That's
because of the inch or whatever.
Yeah.
But they are about the same size. I'm pretty sure that fight was at like 185, 195, whatever the boxing. I know MMA weight classes. I don't know the boxing, but I think that they were at the same exact weight. Now that gets a little tricky because the weigh-in's the day before, and you have to cut your weight, and when you step on the scale, you have to be within 1 pound of each other. But in that one day, like you could add
blowing
like
up, baby.
10, 20 pounds that you lost the day before.
Yeah. I mean, Jake Paul's a huge motherfucker.
He's a big dude.
Yeah,
he's a big.
Was he like 6'4" or something?
Yeah,
he's like
no,
tall.
he's like 6'1", 6'2".
But either way,
I think he's huge.
He's like 6'1", 6'2", and I think he fights at around 190.
He looks so much thicker than Anderson Silva.
For people out there who might want, like, I am 6'5", and like where I walk around right now, probably at like 220, 225. More regular rate that I would be like 205, 210. So, I have a couple more inches. Obviously, I look a little bit more slender than he would because I've got like 4 inches on him. But yeah, he's a thick dude. He's a big dude.
He's thick as hell.
So, I mean, outside of like the whole it being rigged and stuff like that, I know a lot of people are talking about pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like,
so I was listening to a podcast with Jake, and he was. I mean, this is coming from Jake, but you know how his fight before this got canceled.
Yeah, the 2 fights before this.
Yeah, the 2 fights before this got canceled. And so when there was a bunch of drama coming around that last fight getting canceled, he said that the pay-per-view views were going, or the pay-per-view buys were going up, and when that came out, they just dropped. He said that everyone was like, oh, he's just not going to fucking fight him, so why would I buy this pay-per-view?
Well, I mean,
he said it didn't really climb back up to where it was. He said there was a big craze about this fight happening, and then it just dropped down.
Because he was actually fighting someone who is under Team Money Team, which is Floyd Mayweather's like fight camp, like his little entourage that he keeps or whatever. And it was a dude who actually fights heavyweight. He was pretty big, and it would have been a challenge for Jake Paul. The thing about it is you don't really know what you're getting yourself into with pay-per-views until like the actual night of the fight. And seeing as how, like, the whole weight discrepancy where Rasheem wouldn't fucking drop his weight.
Drop it, yeah. I can't remember what it was.
He was trying to get a payout and doing some really shady shit, as Fury's younger brother tried to do before that. And that's why the fight didn't end up happening. So it's like a week before. You really don't know. You kind of have, like, an estimate of what you're going to do. But I think that at the end of the day, Anderson Silva is one of the fucking most popular fighters in the world. They sold around 200 to 300K for the pay-per-view that just happened. Now, if you're talking about someone like Devontae Wilder, who is a boxer who just fought Fury a couple years ago, which was one of the best-selling fights of all time in boxing type shit. He was fighting, light heavyweight fucking bout or heavyweight bout, whatever he is. And he sold 60K. So this Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight did over 3 times more than fucking a regular fight that happened this same month.
I think part of it too is after, like Bailey said, the 2 fighters backed out previous to that. It kind of lets the air out of the tire on the hype of that shit.
Saying.
And I get where you're like Anderson Silva is very well known MMA UFC legend or whatever. Yes, but Anderson Silva was in that prime 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
now my thing is like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Like, if Nate Diaz and Jake Paul fight,
that'll
be the biggest.
They're actually talking about
the biggest boxing fight since Mayweather McGregor for sure.
It might be, but that's because
I said the biggest one since then. Besides, like you see the professionals. I'm saying like outside of that professional arena, of professional boxers.
Well,
yes.
I think fucking when Jake Paul was doing his original like YouTube boxing, when he was fighting like Deji and stuff before he was a pro, and I put that in air quotes because fucking he's not an actual pro fighter. He's not actually fought any fucking actual boxers yet. I think that they were doing around 1 million pay-per-view. But at that point in time, it's kind of fresh. You know, he's got fucking millions of subscribers on YouTube. So you'd imagine most of the people are going to buy in. The dude knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. Build a brand and then build around it.
I mean, and his brand is huge. But another thing is it was Halloween weekend. And it was everybody was out at parties and shit.
Yep, that's
as
true,
well.
too.
Yeah. So I think they just planned. I think that's why we didn't watch the fight. And I think that also has a lot to come or to play.
And if I were him, I wouldn't even like look at that as much as I would think, okay, moving forward, what can we do to go from this with the pay-per-view buys and do it right and get it to back up here?
I think they just scheduled it incorrectly.
I think moving forward with what Jake Paul wants to do, I think that he needs to find an actual boxer and fight an actual boxer so people can see if he's legit. Because now the fucking whole initial like shock of it like has passed. I mean, you're fighting Anderson Silva. It's by far the most fucking competition that he's had and the most well-known fighter that he has fought
but still at a medium grade, though.
Yeah.
And actually, I'd say below medium grade solely because Anderson Silva's not a boxer, really, okay?
No.
He's a legend in the UFC, but he's old now to the point where there's no hype around Anderson Silva.
I mean, but you know, he's Anderson Silva's last fight, he fucking beat a former champion of the world who's like fresh out of losing.
Absolutely, which is great. And I get that. That can happen.
Let's not talk too bad about Silva because Silva's striking is pretty superb when it comes to most people. You're right; it's not an actual boxer.
So that's what I'm saying, though. So don't expect those numbers from something that maybe wasn't as overwhelming as what people would hope.
But I think a lot of people one thing that might happen because he could fight Nate Diaz next time,
which I think is a smart thing to do.
He's another MMA fighter
for this.
Yes, for money. That's what he might have to do. But I think what a lot of people are waiting for is for him to see an actual boxer, and when they see him actually box, people aren't going to get him fighting a fucking professional boxer with a record because like Jake Paul, like the dude's got some skills. I'm not going to sit here and act like the dude can't throw some punches.
He's a good fighter.
He's gotten to a point where he's decent, but if you put him up against a pro fighter who's actually fucking been in the ring and done the thing, he's going to get fucking demolished because these people have been doing it since they're fucking 18.
I think he'd put up a good fight, but the cards would be stacked in the other. In the boxer.
The Rashim guy that he fought was technically an amateur boxer, and I think Fury's brother was an amateur boxer too. So he needed to do that. I don't know how much that's actually going to bring in. It might be because he's actually fighting a boxer, but if the way things have gone in the past with him trying to fight actual boxers are comparable, I think the smart thing for him to do after losing out on 2 events now would probably be to fight Nate Diaz and then try to fucking get into that.
Exactly, because now your hype's up here, and then if you fight a real boxer after that, it continues to grow. Here's the thing, my question, ultimately, does he want to become a professional
I believe that's
boxer.
Yes, I believe that
ultimately that's what his goal is.
He says he's a professional boxer now.
He's not.
Wants to,
well, he's been saying that for a while. He's
but
not.
he wants to. This is what he wants to do as a career.
He needs to do a Nate Diaz crazy hype thing like that, get himself back out there, and then get into the ring with a professional fighter.
So here's the one thing that having the Nate Diaz fight would do very well. Nate Diaz is fucking that Stockton fucking bad boy who everyone loves, and they know for a fact that if he steps in the ring with Jake Paul, he's not going to fucking throw a rigged fight. He's not going to fucking take a knee. He's not going to fucking fall over. He's going to throw hands with that motherfucker.
Yep.
And I would love to see that.
I love it.
And I think Nate Diaz might end up beating the shit out of him. But because Nate Diaz does a really good job of gassing people out.
He does.
Jake Paul at the end of that fight, from what I saw, looked pretty gassed at the end of 8 rounds. And fucking Nate Diaz, you're not going to get that dude.
Nope.
He's going to let you beat the shit out of him, and then when you're done, fucking demolish you.
Well, you know, the best ever, I think, in my opinion, that did that was Mayweather. He is so good at his defense. He would let people. I mean, McGregor got so gassed.
Well, no fighter has actually landed more strikes against Mayweather than McGregor, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a UFC fighter,
right?
And that was a whole thing in and of itself, but you correct. Mayweather's defensive boxing, he plays for points, and
amazing.
like he's one of the only fighters. He's like 50-0 or some shit, never lost.
Right.
Like I don't like the way he fights, but he is probably the best fighter of all time, and like he's never really been tested.
Right.
Like never. Fucking Pacquiao, you might be able to say that he kind of got tested.
Yeah.
He fought
previous years.
He fought Canelo when Canelo was real young.
Good. Yeah.
And I'd like to see that fight now, but there's just too much of an age difference. Yeah. So. Yeah, you know what? It is what it is. We'll see how that moves forward with Jake Paul in the future. I wish him the best of luck with his like outside the boxing thing, because it is a little bit weird. But I do know one thing that he is doing that I find really great is like him and Anderson are teamed up. He told Anderson that if Anderson beats him, that he'll fight him in an MMA match. And if he beats Anderson, then they're going to team up to do like this rights for fighters thing. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know anything about the UFC, Dana White, you know, he's a good businessman and he does his thing with the UFC. He's really good at making money. But like the fighters that he are with are severely underpaid.
The fighter.
So unless you're like a McGregor or like an Adesanya or like a Nate Diaz who have such a fucking brand and name to them that can make money outside of it, they're only making like fucking 100, 300K for fucking fights, which is fucking stupid low compared to like McGregor Mayweather, which was like a $500 million fight.
I get that, and I'm sure McGregor, like Iceman Liddell back in the day, and Anderson Silva back in the day, like when they were fighting for belts and stuff like that, when UFC was
like 100K,
really became, and like all the people below. But see, that's the thing, man. If you look at the business, I would love to see a stat line, an income expense report on that.
I would like to see it too. Dana White does a very good job of dodging it, and it's very sketchy. Yeah. And I think one thing that Jake Paul is doing with this whole thing is he's really calling Dana White
trying to get that
well,
out.
He doesn't really like Dana that much.
Well, Dana doesn't. Dana fucking hates him.
Yeah.
You either love Dana or you hate him.
Well,
I love him. I do
people,
just because
there's people like Francis Ngannou and fucking other fighters like John Jones and stuff that have come forward and been like, fucking my name's so big, why the fuck would I fight? Because I'm not getting paid for this shit.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, Dana fucking has the money to do so, just doesn't. So I think that we're starting to see a point where this YouTuber Jake Paul might fucking actually get something done.
Called out.
Because the thing about the UFC is it's such this mega corporation that like anything starts to come forward to like test it, like they just buy it out and shut it down before it can even get any headway.
Like they did with Pride. Did you ever watch any of the old Pride?
Oh yeah,
fights?
Pride was the best. They had no fucking steroid regulations or anything like that.
Yeah.
Big boys out there. Did that. Bellator's the one that's kind of competing, which has been around for a while, but they've bought out like WEC and fucking anything that comes up and starts making some headway, UFC just buys it out because they can't compete.
He's a great businessman, but like I like him a lot because of how real he is, just as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not like the.
I like Dana White.
You know what I'm
don't
saying?
get me wrong.
He keeps it real, and I like that about somebody who owns a sports franchise like
that. And
as compared to other sports,
I do like someone who has the balls to get up there and fucking say it like it is.
As it is,
quotations, but at the same time, there's some sketch shit going on.
I'm not saying there's not. Yeah.
I mean, any business that is that big, there's
which
always
is
sketchy
shitty
shit.
because it
you
doesn't
have to be
kind of
sketchy
like
to get to the top.
Which
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And that's
businessmen or fucking billionaires are billionaires for a reason.
Yeah.
That's why I've always said it's like I'd rather not. I'd be okay not having all that money and sleeping well at night, knowing that I'm doing right by the people that I'm working with, whether it's in real estate or anything else that I do.
Exactly.
And nice guys finish last.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not a nice guy.
I was gonna say where does he finish in that category?
Well, speaking of nice guys not finishing last, let's talk a little bit about this whole Twitter verification thing that's going on with Elon Musk and him charging like $8 a month for verified accounts or whatever.
But it can be anybody. Anybody can pay it and be verified.
So I could be verified.
Is that the way it is?
I thought that's what they were saying. I was going to ask you that.
Anybody can be verified. You just have to pay for it.
You have to pay a monthly subscription.
Which I don't understand why you would pay to be like. I don't get that. Like, then it just makes it obsolete.
I thought the whole thing of it was if you want to have a verified account, you have to pay a certain subscription.
Yeah, but you do. But anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Yes. I mean, well, they already have like the Twitter Blue, where it's like $3 a month or something, and you get
I don't use Twitter.
Certain advantages. I started getting into it a little bit. I used to fucking be a fan of Twitter over Facebook, and then I got more into Facebook, and for the last like 6-7 years I've been more of a Facebook guy. Recently took a little hiatus from like Snapchat and Facebook and all the like major ones that I did, and like tried to focus on Twitter a little bit more to, you know, like, because it's more of like branding for your social media. It's more like you go on Twitter to follow your favorite celebrities or sports athletes and stuff like that to see and keep up with them. Facebook's more like your friends.
Right, which is why, to your point, Bailey, that's going to kind of discredit.
Yeah, it's just going to make it obsolete to be verified.
Because if anybody and everybody's verified now, you're looking for the blue check mark.
Because, I mean, hell, you
and
pay
if everybody
more...
has it, it's like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I could care less one way or another.
See, now, do you think... Now, let me ask y'all something. Do you think that Elon might be instilling this to fucking, you know, kind of destroy Twitter?
I think he's doing it to say, like, fuck the man. Like, he's saying, like, you know, fuck it. These celebrities aren't any better than... the, you know, the normal guy.
Well,
if that's the case, I love it then.
Yeah, I would assume that's what he's doing. Well, that's how he is.
He is like that.
That's what that's why he bought Twitter in the first place. The reason why he bought Twitter was because it was such like a corrupt, like far left liberal thing where they were like censoring fucking certain things, and like he wanted to fucking make it fucking free speech again. Yeah. And like he reinstilled fucking Trump's
Trump is now on Twitter.
And like
again.
I'm not a huge fan.
Has he tweeted yet or no?
Yeah.
Has he really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of Trump, but Trump should absolutely have a fucking Twitter.
Yeah, anybody should have a Twitter unless you're saying like some really really fucked up shit. Like,
but at the same time,
like if you're doing like human trafficking through Twitter somehow.
Well, yeah,
you shouldn't fucking have a Twitter.
That's illegal, so yeah.
Well, I know.
Well,
but
they have a lot of issues with like these bots that are fucking doing a bunch of shit on Twitter, and like it's a super sketchy place. And I think a lot of the reason why he might be doing it is just to fucking, you know, bring an end to Twitter. Like fucking, he doesn't like the space that it has fucking been built into. I know a lot of us are fucking really fans of the way social media has turned out. And, like, he might just be doing it so fucking, you know, everyone gets fucking verified. Now everyone's verified. You can't keep up with your own shit. It kind of just dies out.
You can't say you can't say anything anymore, period.
Yeah. If you,
okay?
I mean,
so when you look at the Constitution that says freedom of speech, it's not freedom of speech, but you can't say this, 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 and this. It's freedom of speech.
Yeah. No,
you know, if somebody has a problem with it, let them fucking deal with it.
The thing that there becomes like blurred lines about it is technically these are private owned companies, so they can do whatever they want to in their company.
And I understand
because Twitter and fucking Facebook aren't American companies. They're not based in the government of the United States of America. They're based around this global fucking.
But who are they to say what can and cannot Twitter, be said, though?
Well, they can because they're fucking private companies and fucking, you know.
I'm saying in general in the world.
They can station themselves in some fucking like island out in the middle of nowhere that doesn't have the fucking laws or whatever.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden they're allowed to fucking say what gets posted and what doesn't.
That's then you're taking away from your freedoms, rights, and liberties.
Yeah. But the thing is, we think as Americans that fucking we are the fucking voice of the entire world, when in reality we're fucking like less than fucking.
Well, hold on.
8%.
So let me ask you this then: if I build a restaurant and open up a restaurant, and I don't like whatever it is you're saying, wearing, or anything like that, and I don't let you come inside, well, how is that any different?
Because fucking a restaurant has zoning laws based on the area that it is in. Fucking a social media,
but I own it.
A social media on the internet does not. It's not.
It's not fucking.
It's not bound by an area.
But that's scary then. Because then they can just basically control it,
bro.
That's probably why Elon Musk.
That's what I'm alluding to.
He did it for free, like freedom of speech.
Yeah,
but
good for him.
I also the verification thing. He did it to say we're not, the celebrities aren't any better than us.
No.
And which is true. I mean, we idolize celebrities like they're gods, and they're not. They're just regular people.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are fucking shitty. Like it's
yeah. Some of them
especially
aren't.
behind closed
some
doors.
Of them aren't. But at the end of the day, they're just people with a name. They have more followers than us. They shouldn't be treated any differently. Now, granted, they've done a lot of things in their lives to fucking get them to where they are, and like they deserve a certain amount of like clout. A certain representation or whatever, but I like the idea of Elon coming in and switching things up a little bit, because we've lived through it. I remember I got my first Facebook in like 2009 or something, just about a decade ago, and it was completely different back then than it is now.
Sure.
And what it has turned into is like these people who are fucking literally able to control the narrative of like the world. They're able to fucking propagate fucking things that go on in the world because they have control of where people are talking. And it's no longer just localized to the fucking government that you're ever in. Like fucking, you can talk about Russia, China, America, whichever propaganda you want to speak about. We were able to localize that before. Now we're all interconnected. And it's the people like the Zuckerbergs and fucking the Elon Musk who have control over this. They're able to do it. Now, there are some issues with Elon Musk. Some people think that he's trying to create his own narrative, like dictator type shit, but that's what they say about Zuckerberg. That's what they say about Trump.
Everyone else did it.
They say about fucking
Don't
Biden.
talk shit about him because you don't like him, and he's doing the same thing everyone else did.
If you ask me, Elon Musk, fucking out of all of the people that are fucking these rich billionaire philanthropists,
I'd rather have him in charge.
He's kind of the person that I would lean towards fucking, like, politically, ethically, or whatever. He seems to have a fucking want to help the people.
He says it how it is, too.
Yeah,
have you ever watched interviews with Elon?
With Joe Rogan and him, too.
Yeah, that podcast is awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
Weird podcast. The first time,
he's a weird fucker. Like,
he's autistic.
Is he? He's
he
so
is
odd,
Asperger's.
but he's so smart. And the thing, like, I was listening to Joe talk on a different interview about Elon, and he was saying he says things that you can't really comprehend.
Well,
and he has to like kind of dumb it down so you can comprehend it.
Yes,
because it's like,
and that's not just necessarily him dumbing it down. It's also kind of if you know anybody that, I mean, your new fiance Katie, her brother is autistic, has Asperger's, which is what
he's autistic.
Which is what I believe that he has Asperger's, which is the same part of the spectrum that Elon Musk does. I believe I've talked to Katie about this, and they both have Asperger's.
No, he has autism. He's
autistic.
Autism
and Asperger's. Asperger's is like a subsection of the spectrum of autism.
She has never told me that he has Asperger's. He has the mind of like a 14-year-old boy.
Well,
his mind is he's smart about some things, and other things he doesn't.
Their minds are a lot more compartmentalized.
Yeah,
and like his obsession is with trains, and he knows a fuck ton about trains.
Yes,
and scary movies.
So they know a lot about it, and it's not necessarily the dumbing down of what they need to say. Sometimes they just have problems communicating because they don't have the social skills. The first time I watched Joe Rogan's podcast with Elon Musk, I couldn't watch it because Elon Musk made me uncomfortable listening to him.
Yeah,
and then
a little bit.
Then I kind of realized what I did, and I watched it back, and it was like, okay, now I know where he's at, where I'm at, and I can.
Did you watch his podcast with the Nelk Boys?
No,
Elon.
I did not.
Elon with the Nelk Boys
was really good. I saw it.
It was very good, but he
Do you have Twisted Teas over there?
No.
Okay. No.
But he like kind of turned into like a frat boy around those guys.
Yeah.
And it was a completely different. Yes. Yeah, it was a completely different podcast from Joe Rogan to the Nelk Boys, which it should be because the Nelk Boys talk about a lot of different things than Joe Rogan does.
Do you know who the Nelk Boys are?
Oh yeah, I follow the Nelk Boys.
He's saying that.
Yeah. They did an interview with Joe Burrow, which was off the hook.
Bro, they've had Trump on there. They've had fucking Andrew Tate.
They gave Trump a watch, a really nice watch.
They actually,
the presidential Rolex.
They actually have had some really, really good fucking people on there. Now, I don't think that their interviewing skills. I mean, when they bring Bradley Martin on, and fucking Steiny's actually pretty good too.
Steiny, he makes me want to punch him in the face.
Oh
yeah, there's some times when I feel that way,
but I mean, at the end of the day, like, he does fucking kind of get into people and dig, and he's not afraid to ask the hard question, and he gets shit out of people. Kyle, I think, is more of like the face of the corporation, he has to be there. But like, I think that they do a really good job of like, yo, we have this huge, massive platform. We're able to get these fucking like huge names on there, and that's what makes a good interviewer. Is not necessarily a good interviewer, but that's what makes a good podcast, is having these people on that fucking can come and voice their opinion to them. So like, it's not necessarily based around Full Send or Nelk, which actually Nelk got sold recently. I don't know if you saw that.
Nelk didn't get sold. Jesse just sold his half of the company.
Okay.
I think he sold it back to Kyle.
But they do a good job of bringing these high list fucking personalities on and fucking having them say that, like, they're doing the.
They had Shaq on there. They've had some really good interviews. Yeah. Who was the guy that they recently had a split with? That was
Jesse.
Bob Menery. Thank you.
And Bob Menery's a dick.
Like, I actually liked some of his YouTube shit.
An ass.
The voiceover YouTube shit's fucking hilarious.
I like Bob, but that's because
the YouTube voiceovers are fucking hilarious.
That's how he got like famous.
Yes.
Was his voiceovers for YouTube, but he, I think, was he was
a dick.
Apparently he lied about a bunch of shit.
He wanted more money too.
Yeah. And I bet that they were paying him good.
I don't know what all goes on with them and Bob, but I identify with Bob a little bit because I feel like he's just a little bit misunderstood. He's a little bit crazy, and fucking people don't necessarily understand his crazy. But like, he does a good job of like pushing the limit. And that's what I think that you need sometimes, especially when you're doing something like a podcast, because that's what he's technically known for, right? Is his own?
No, he's known for the voiceovers. He did sports voiceovers, and they're
YouTube,
hilarious.
I know what you're talking about. They are hilarious. But I mean, he just kind of fucking has this little bit of edge to him. Like, I mean, when the Shaq interview that they had, fucking Shaq was like, he was talking about his girl before, and he's like, don't talk about your ex-girl in front of your old girl. And fucking Bob was like continuing to push the issue, and like, that's a bad example, but I feel like
I get what you're saying.
I feel like he's able to ask the questions that nobody else will fucking ask.
Which is fine, but behind the scenes, he's like, he was complaining and kind of it's like, if this is going well, and like ride this wave out, man, and just enjoy it, enjoy the ride.
Apparently, he said that he got like half the people on the podcast for Nelk.
He did.
And Kyle was like, he got these people, and he named off like 5 people.
He did a video on it.
And Kyle did.
Yeah,
and Kyle's like, he's lying about getting all these people. He's like,
oh really?
He did get quite a few.
But
it wasn't as many as what he portrayed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the beginning of the podcast was fucking literally him and Kyle, pretty much. Like he was like they were the 2 main faces of the podcast. So like you brought him on for a reason.
But regardless of how many people he got on, like who gives a shit if you're having fun and enjoying the company of the people you're around?
Yeah, that has to be one of the easiest jobs.
That's what I'm saying.
Like ever. You get to fucking party and have a great time, and all you have to do is come and make money, and all you have to do is come and film
meet all these people and celebrities.
I don't know. I feel like when it comes down to it, getting people onto the podcast and setting up when you are as busy and fucking as famous with all these millions of dollars and traveling here and there, I think just physically getting someone to sit down who is as a high list of a person as some of the people are, I think that's an incredibly difficult task to do. And then when they actually do sit down, ask relevant questions that aren't going to piss them off and make them walk out of the fucking room and stuff like that. I think a lot more goes into it. I mean, I've experienced it trying to do it with this, just finding fucking random people that fucking don't have a name to themselves getting on this fucking podcast.
Hey, Bailey, you see something we don't have a name to ourselves?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's what
I don't either. I'm just saying fucking like trying to... There's been many times where I've been trying to have like a weekly podcast that I couldn't have it done on the week because I was supposed to have this person on and they had to reschedule fucking 3 or 4 times.
I hear you. And it is tough.
And then when you're talking about someone who might be fucking across the world at any given day,
but the following that they have, it does good for the people that are on the podcast, so, and they know that. That's why they come on their podcast.
It builds their brand outside of that. There's so much more to it.
That's the whole thing with podcasts, and that's why I said before that the reason why Nelk is successful is because they have a huge brand and people want to be on there. And like when they see people like Donald Trump fucking coming on to their goddamn podcast,
Donald Trump loves the Nelk Boys.
He brought him up on stage at one of his
He loves the Nelk Boys.
Events.
He brought him on the Air Force One.
But when you see stuff like that, it makes you want to go there because it's like, hey, the former president of the United States who's fucking been canceled and fucking can't fucking
and they've
post
gotten
anywhere.
A ton of
well, do you know how they got Donald Trump on the podcast?
Dana White. Yes, thank you. Dana White. Yeah,
and you know how Dana White. You know how Dana White knows the Nelk Boys? His kids. Yeah. His kids said, I love the Nelk Boys. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I want to meet these kids. Yeah. And then they just hit it off.
They have a great relationship.
If you watch their interviews, almost all the guys who come on there, they're like, my kids fucking love you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely love you guys. They make great content, bro. They still do the prank thing, and they do like the real.
I like
they take their time to fucking make their content right, and fucking it's good shit.
Their pranks are good, and that's why I started watching them. But they're just vlogs that they do. It just makes me want to be there. I want to be able to party like that, and just
they do those because it makes you want more.
Yeah.
Makes you want more. Like Steve,
I watch him every week.
Steve will do it. I like Steve. Dude.
So Steve will do it. He used to make drinking videos, and me and my buddies would try to do his drinking challenges. We couldn't. We got way too fucked up.
I was going to say that's a very bad idea.
I mean, I'm an experienced drinker, but I fucking could not do like
we got way
bottles
too
of Jack
fucked up.
Daniels.
But we tried, and like Steve will do it, and he's on Rumble now. And actually, after I leave here, I'm gonna watch his Rumble.
I need
video.
you to explain to me Rumble. We need to take a break real quick because I need to pee.
Hold on, can I say one thing about Steve will do it real quick?
Yeah.
Do you ever watch the videos of where he's giving money to?
Yeah, he is probably one of the nicest people.
Which is so crazy because you see all these drinking expeditions and stuff, like chugging bottles of Jack Daniels and all that stuff, and then he's giving, oh, well, you know what, you need money for here, how about this? And it's like, I love that because it shows like that personal, like emotional side to
like
the guy.
I've cried watching Silva do his videos.
I mean, we're on camera. I have also cried. I don't care.
Well,
you go down that well hole, and it's like of YouTube, and it's like you see stuff like that. It's like, dude, you're that person. You can be. You don't have to be any different of a human being. Yeah. He's just a genuine dude.
Well, when he got canceled off of YouTube, and he was talking about why he got canceled on Bradley Martin's podcast.
I was going to ask that. I didn't know he got canceled off YouTube.
Yeah. So that's why he's on Rumble now.
Did they delete his channel? And everything?
Yeah. So he posted a video. Apparently he got a channel strike, and I don't know what it was, or I do know what it was for. So he got a channel strike because you know how he would do those gambling videos? Mm-hmm. He posted the URL in the video on accident. Like he didn't. All he had to do was take the .com out of it.
Gotcha.
And his editor didn't, and he's like, there are so many YouTube channels that have gambling videos on this site, and whatever, but you're gonna take my video off because of this,
right? And
he said like 3 or 4 days later, after that he got that channel strike, he got an email saying his channel was deleted.
Gone.
Yeah, so all those videos are gone, and he's like, I am one of the YouTubers that help people the most. Yes. And he was like, he's like really upset about it, which I would be too.
I would be too.
And he's like, I don't make any money from these. I'm doing it because...
He does it out of... Yes.
Yeah, he's like, I want to... Like, he said when he was making money from YouTube, he would put every dollar that he made back into the video.
Yeah.
And every dollar he made, he would give away to people.
It goes back into his business.
Yeah.
Correct. The majority of the money that they make is off merch.
Yeah, well, merch, and then Steve has a bunch of condos that he rents out.
Yeah, they've got other stuff,
yeah,
but the merchandise that they sell for Nelk Boys. Did you bring me a beer too? Or did you bring those two for both of you? Oh, Jesus.
No, I came prepared. I brought multiple in with me.
You saw me wind up.
Hold on. Did you see it? Bailey's like, I came prepared. I brought multiple in with me, but you didn't bring any in for us.
Yeah, because fuck you guys. You guys can
Okay, that's cool. I thought we were friends.
Yes.
So, I only got 2 hands.
I was on your side there for a minute.
I only got 2 hands.
Not anymore, girl.
So I was going to peg on that a little bit about what they do so well. And, like, I've actually tried to, of course, I'm not nearly where they are, but I've tried to, like, model, like, Your House, Our Rules after fucking Nelk Boys. I still got a lot to do because we talked about the merch thing, but, like, their YouTube, they don't make a cent off YouTube.
Correct.
No. They play copyrighted music. They fucking do things that they're not allowed to do to fucking get it. And that's like the gambling things, why Steve Will Do It got canceled or whatever. Yeah. But I saw like this video where they like broke down how much these drops that they do, these merch drops, and I think they do them like quarterly, so like 4 times a year. Yeah. It's like $7 million off fucking one drop. Yeah. And what they do is they do the exclusive branding. So what they do is they drop everything on that merch, and they have limited items, and fucking when you buy it, that's it.
They sell out like that. I've tried to buy full
out, and then they do not come back.
Yeah, I've tried to buy.
And that's what creates fucking. That's what creates a market that fucking. You need it. You need to buy it at that moment.
Correct.
So they're diehard fans. They're all eating this shit up, buying it all, and fucking. Then you can go and resell it.
And they have quality shit
for sure. That's why, like, I mean, people do like the Jordans and the Yeezys and all like the shoe and all that stuff. Like, I get my shoes at Kohl's. I spend no more than $50 at Kohl's. Right. Okay. I don't care what anybody thinks about my shoe game. It's whatever. But like you're creating that want to have.
It's brand exclusivity.
Yeah.
It's the smartest way of marketing that you can possibly do because you are creating something that people want.
It's what the Gucci's
and
have
now
done.
Everybody competes for it, and then it drives up and you make more money.
And now they have Happy Dad.
Happy Dad, because they took the money from merch. Sorry, they took the money from merch.
I can say that I bought Happy Dad because of them.
Yeah.
It's not very good. But
I liked it.
He
Never
liked
had it.
I did not like it. But people buy it just because it's from them.
Correct.
Just because they can have that Happy Dad, and people are like, "What's that?"
And
it's full send.
And that's the thing about it, though. They took the money that they're doing off these fucking merch drops and they reinvested into something that was a fucking great idea.
The smartest thing.
The seltzers fucking that are taking over. Like, people aren't drinking beer anymore. All my friends fucking drink seltzers and shit like that. When you're talking about fucking something as big as alcohol, like, you sell that for not fucking an overprice because they have these like shirts and stuff that they're fucking charging like Supreme fucking brand,
right?
Like monetary value to.
Correct.
They're putting like that to it. It's expensive shit, and you buy it and fucking you have it. They're no longer releasing it. Throw that back into something that you can buy every weekend and get drunk with your friends, like fucking alcohol.
And I mean, and that's their business model too,
That's
is
called
getting
business.
drunk and partying.
Yeah, it's called real
and
business.
so they
and then you have these fucking YouTube videos that don't make a cent, but they fucking are getting people to fucking see the Happy Dad brand. They're getting people to see their merch brand. They're getting people to see that they live a party lifestyle. They're creating this fucking cult like following. It's fucking.
they do have a. Have you seen the Happy Dad drops? When they get it into a certain state or whatever, there's like thousands of people that come. They come to meet and greet them.
It's
they did it in Newport.
Yeah,
this
did they
past
really?
summer.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't get it in Ohio yet. I don't think.
I didn't think so.
But
I've
I don't
never
think
had it.
So I think that it's either. I think it's Jesse. So they might bring it to Ohio now. But Jesse had a warrant in Ohio. So they couldn't come to Ohio. But I think they were in Columbus a few months ago. So I think they can come to Ohio now, and it's all good.
I mean, all those business models, I mean, it's like it's genius. And just to touch back, like I saw the Rogan with Elon Musk, and I wanted to bring this up earlier. He did like they showed him on a video of him like messing around with a flamethrower.
Oh, his flamethrower?
Yeah.
The boring company?
And then he produced like a bunch of them. And
he was doing that before Rogan.
And that's what I'm saying. But what he was talking about when he was on his podcast from Rogan, so he goes, so how did those sell? He goes, I sold out of them in 3 days. He's like, how many did you sell? He's like, 20,000 of those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's like,
and when he was saying that, he goes,
flamethrowers.
He goes, no, you shouldn't buy them.
Yes.
You should not buy them. And he's like, but people did.
But people
and he's
bought
like, I made sure to say, hey, you shouldn't probably buy them.
But
And
that's
he's
the
like,
thing. People bought those
warning on it.
People bought those flamethrowers because it was attached to Elon Musk, just like people are buying Happy Dad because it's attached to. Okay, people like you would buy.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
People like you.
I will give you the point, but at the same time, it's a fucking flamethrower.
I get it, but you see where I'm coming from a business perspective.
Yeah,
somebody like you would buy a flamethrower just because you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, look at his eyes light up.
Like a person should not give me a flamethrower.
He just has a flamethrower.
Yes, in there. It's disguised back there.
Yeah. So we got a little bit off topic there because we weren't planning on talking about Nelks, but you know what? It was a good conversation.
Nelk boys are fucking badass.
I love them.
It was, and I always love talking about branding and fucking, especially when I can like relate it to like my views going forward with this. I just need to fucking get this thing, and hopefully what we got now going on, fucking, we can like all keep each other fucking a little bit more fucking in tune with what's going on. We need to have like weekly conversations about all that stuff, not just what's going on with the podcast, and do that. And you know, I think we've all reached a point. Bailey just got engaged. We've been talking about some stuff. All of us are starting to get to a point in our lives where we're fucking starting to get away from the party, and we're looking forward to fucking the future.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about someone who no longer has a future, or some people who no longer have a future. I want to touch on the sexual allegations that we've seen, especially in the EDM community. Now, I know that you don't necessarily know about the specifics that we're talking about, and I don't want to put it necessarily specific to that, but it is something that is a very broad thing.
I mean, it happens not in just the EDM community.
It's probably
there's sexual allegations.
But I'm sure it's probably pretty crazy in the community.
I mean, the person who got me into EDM, Bass Nectar, is currently canceled because of fucking. He has like accounts of child pornography and human trafficking and stuff like that. And like, this is the dude that got me into EDM in 2017.
Damn. He was huge.
And like,
I know.
And like,
what's the girl's? Hold on, sorry. The girl, freaking hell, he did a remake of it's like the Gold Light something, whatever.
Ellie Goulding's
song. Yes, dude. Did you ever hear that? The Bass Nectar version?
Yeah,
probably.
It's great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, the dude slaps, and I still listen to his music. Fucking,
I still play his music.
I do not give a fuck. This is something that we could talk about a little bit here. I can separate the fucking artist from the fucking art. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can be a huge piece of shit and fucking. I know people who are like, "There's no way that he did that shit," just because they like his music so much. To be honest with you, he probably did do that shit, but fucking his music bangs.
Yes.
And I'm still going to listen to his music.
Absolutely.
But there was this guy, Mize, who fucking was like the recent big one that just got canceled. Everyone loved his music and stuff like that. And he got canceled for like, you know, he like punched some chick in the eye that had a big fucking black eye and like raped her. And there was this other fucking thing where he had like this chick and was trying to finesse her into having a threesome with him and his buddy. And then he came out with this long, fucking winded, fucking apology.
It wasn't really apologizing. It was saying that he didn't do it.
Yeah, it was him just
but he
like
really
trying
didn't
to
apologize.
trying to justify. And you know, depending on who you ask, you're going to get two different perspectives of the scenario. What happens? I don't necessarily want to get into like, did he do it or did he not? Because at the end of the day, we weren't there.
Right.
We don't know. But one thing that I do kind of want to peg on with this whole scenario is at least the electronic community I know is doing something about it. Yeah. There's been multiple people that have been canceled, and fucking it's gotten to a point where like you look at like hip hop, which is fucking notorious for just objectifying women and fucking objectifying fucking bad things. Their music is fucking really shitty shit. That's probably part of what I love it for. That's why it's my favorite music, is because it is urban poetry. It is fucking hood shit. It is what fucking goes down, and fucking it's real ass shit. Now, that shit doesn't get talked about in that community. Chris Brown, fucking years ago, fucking beat up on Rihanna, and he's still been a fucking A-list celebrity, fucking top-selling performer for years after that. But at least people now are being held accountable for the things that they do in the electronic community. Now, one thing that I can say, but then that's what I was getting to. Now, on the reverse side of the spectrum is I'm starting to see a point where, like, it's starting to get fucking a little bit too much. It's starting to be like fucking, you can't have a normal like sexual interaction that gets a little bit too fucking risky, and fucking it's like, oh, stop. And fucking shit might stop at that point, but like you can come back fucking months down the line and be like, oh, well, this shit happened to me, and fucking twist it all sorts of way, and now all of a sudden you're canceled and you didn't necessarily do anything. I mean, granted, there is sexual misconduct there, but fucking we need to start balancing it a little bit.
Anymore, and I feel like this isn't anything, you're guilty until proven innocent anymore. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because if they just come out and say you did this, like it's you're like, oh, he did that. And they're not even looking at proof or anything like that. They're just like, yep, he's that. And
with rape, you can't prove it unless it's like the day after. Like you can't, there's nothing you can do to prove it unless you have like text messages saying like, hey, sorry, like I raped you.
But, I mean, what do you like? What is it like? Hold on, I'd like to film this session to make sure that this goes well.
Yeah, and then it's bad.
Like I'm gonna go ahead and set a camera over here, so just in case you know.
Like every time you fuck, it's like groupie or something, you need an NDA or fucking some shit like that. Yeah, and like shit just it gets real sticky in that, and that's exactly why it's so hard to fucking determine what is going on, because like unless you step forward at like immediately afterwards and people believe it, then like months down the line they're going to be the people who are like, well, you didn't step forward immediately, so fucking fuck you, you're obviously lying for the clout.
Well, that's the thing. The only thing I would say about that is just don't try not to put yourself in that position, and you'll be just fine. You know what I mean?
The reason that it is so prevalent in the EDM community is because it's fueled by drugs. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Don't put yourself in a position where something like that can happen, which is hard to do because that's the community of which.
Yeah, and when your fucking is infused into fucking drug culture as the electronic community is, and other communities aren't.
Right.
Believe me on that, they're not. Fucking
not at
when
all.
yours infused into that, and fucking you are taking shit like psychedelics, like ketamine, which I think is the biggest proponent of what's fucking going on in the fucking world, because ketamine, that shit's hippie heroin, bro. It's fucking bad. It's fucking bad. I know people who can handle it, but 95% of the people that I know can't. And fucking, you can't control yourself on that shit, bro.
That's crazy.
And like, it gets to a point where like, you're fucking tripping and hallucinating and shit like that. It's like, you don't know if this shit necessarily happened or if it didn't, and she doesn't either. So fucking, everything's so blurred.
That's an issue, though, is when the girl and the guy are both blacked.
Yeah.
Or they don't remember what happened. And then the girl comes back and says, oh, well, you must have raped me. No.
Yeah.
You were blacked out. So was he. It's that doesn't, that just cancels out. You shouldn't have fucking did it. Like, that's your fault.
Exactly. And that's why I kind of feel for some of these artists at a certain point, because they suffer the ramifications of this. And I'm not saying there's not ramifications for the rapee or anything like that, because like, they do have a certain amount of fucking, perspective that is getting put on them, like a certain amount of shit that is getting put on them. But when you're this touring artist that has fucking millions of fans, hundreds of thousands of fans and stuff like that, like, and you can't get booked for a show anymore, and fucking people know your name, people know your face. Now when you're out, it's like you're the dude that raped someone. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily happen with the fucking the groupie that got too fucked up and called raped on someone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I mean, I like you were saying, Bass Nectar probably fucking did the shit he did, and he was a shitty guy. Yeah. Like, and I don't think when that came out, people were like, oh no, that, like, the people that actually, like, aside from really enjoying Bass Nectar and being in his cult, because Bass Nectar had like a cult following.
Oh yeah.
And he
it's
still
like
does.
EDM's Grateful
He still
Dead.
has a cult. Yeah, he still has
you know
a cult.
anything about Grateful Dead?
Maggots for Slipknot.
Maggots are pretty much up there.
I'm not saying as crazy as Grateful Dead, but yes, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare them to even Bass Nectar, really.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, but
like, aside from like those people, the people that knew Bass Nectar and like did business with him, like Mia Page,
Mimi Page.
Is it Mimi?
It's Mimi Page.
Mimi. Yeah. Mimi had a song called Butterfly out with Bass Nectar, and it's an amazing song. It's so good, but apparently Bass Nectar was
it's
giving
like
her
Billboard, his like top 10 Billboard fucking tracks.
Yeah. Apparently he wasn't like giving her the royalties off of the song. He didn't pay her.
She received no royalties.
Yeah.
And apparently there's stories of her like performing live with him at shows or whatever, and she like made him change in a porta potty outside of the festival rather than giving her like,
not she made him.
Yeah, he made her change in fucking a porta potty outside the festival rather than give him like his dressing room or something like that, or a dressing room.
He was just really shitty to her.
Yeah.
And shitty to like people that would open up for Bass Nectar couldn't play better than Bass Nectar.
Yeah, and
if they played better than Bass Nectar, they got yelled at and like, hey, you gotta fucking tone it down because you're outshining.
That's the dumbest thing.
And then there's things like
that's so
competition
stupid.
breeds success.
Yeah, and then there's things like fucking Daddy Jansen, and this recently came up with like Getter calling out fucking like Excision for fucking having like Space Lace's Ghost produce a track for him and just putting his name on it. Bass Nectar was apparently known for that. So what he would do, like Jansen, who's my favorite EDM artist, that's Dad. Fucking Bass Nectar did pretty much fucking put him on the map. Fucking he probably wouldn't be where he is today. Well, he's been in it for a long time, so I don't really want to say that. But like he did a lot for Jansen, but Jansen has multiple tracks with him that apparently Jansen just produced a track and Bass Nectar put his name on it to get him the views.
Yeah.
And shit becomes, you start talking about the same thing at that point because it's like, how skewed is it fucking, because there's give and take here. How many views are you getting just because Bass Nectar's name on it, even though fucking you did all the work?
So let me ask this question. Are these things contractually agreed upon up front?
Most likely, yeah.
So
there's a reason why the people who are fucking put in this situation,
and if they don't follow it, then do something about it for sure.
Yeah, and like at the same time, like me being a fucking artist who fucking isn't well known or anything like that, would I love to fucking have Bass Nectar endorse my track and fucking I just put out a track and he puts his name on it? Hell fucking yeah, I would.
Of course you would.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like it's going to fucking blow me the fuck up, and then I am free to do what I want to with my own brand.
Correct.
At that point
yes.
And Jansen's fucking starting to get to a point where like he just fucking played main stage at Lost Lands. Fucking it was an earlier fucking set, but like I've watched him grow from 2017. The first set that I went into was the end. It's probably like fucking 200 people max in there.
Yeah.
To fucking playing main stage at fucking Lost Lands, which is probably like 25,000 people.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's good business to do that, and as long as it's contractually agreed upon as to how this is.
And that's why a lot of people probably aren't speaking out against it.
Well, that's what you're. That's why we have a justice system to do, like, fucking take them to court and sue them and do whatever you need to do. And
when it comes to that, there's all kinds of shit signed. That's why Mimi Page can't fucking take him to court, probably because she signed a NDA.
NDA. Well, that's something she shouldn't have done and maybe shouldn't have been advised against.
But now, bringing it back to the rape things and stuff like that, there's a whole trial that's going on and gonna happen.
With who? Like
Bass Nectar and these women that he raped.
It hasn't went on yet?
No,
I know Space Jesus got out of his. Yeah. Space Jesus, it was false, and now Space Jesus is going on tour.
Yeah, but Space Jesus apparently paid a lot of money to fucking have people hush.
But see,
I didn't know that. I know that he had text messages proving that he didn't rape her.
Well, and that's fine. Whether he was proven guilty or not, regardless.
Technically, fucking Mize had fucking text messages that proved that he was with that one chick all day and didn't fucking rape that chick at fucking the New Year's thing. But
whether they're innocent or guilty, the whole like paying money to that makes that just doesn't make me feel great about that person.
Well, it's like what we were saying.
Because
great about which person? Because at the same time, you can make up a fucking rape accusation and fucking just knowing that you're getting paid.
Both people.
Yeah.
Both people.
It's shitty.
But because then that dwindles down to people that are just in
It's all this, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
Everything's
It's
about
all
money.
this.
Well, everything's about money,
It's all
period.
money.
But it hurts how people are perceived in regular life that are walking around amongst the regular people who aren't a big name in EDM or any other whatever industry.
Yeah.
It hurts them because now they're looking at certain things here and saying, oh well, we're gonna base this off of this, and it's that's unfair.
It is.
It's unfair.
The whole thing's unfair.
Nobody's held accountable, and if you got enough money to pay for it,
and then you start getting to a point where you are holding people accountable for the shit that they did, and fucking they're starting to fucking turn it the other way and fucking point it at the other person.
Well, it comes back around to the nice guys finish last. Everything is shady when you're at the top,
which sucks because
that's how you get to the top.
Which sucks because I hate thinking about that being the way that you got to get.
Yeah,
to that.
I agree with you.
It's terrible.
I mean,
because you do in your business, you try and do right by your family and stuff. You're involved in that business, and you want to do what's right by the client and the customer and stuff.
Yep.
You don't want to put yourself in a position to have to do things in a gray area or
no, you don't. But when you're so money hungry, you're going to do whatever you can to get to the top to get the clout.
Depends on the type of person you are.
Yeah, I agree. Because if you do
we have to look at it ourselves.
I'm not money hungry.
No.
To be honest, I'll give the shirt off my back to fucking anybody.
Which says a lot about you as a person. Which I'd rather
there are people that are not like that.
Have somebody like that.
That's a lot of people at the top.
But at the same time, fucking, at what point do we not talk about fucking money and talk about fame or whatever? Because I'm not necessarily interested in making fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's why I said clout.
I want to be heard. I want to make a fucking name for myself.
Yeah.
And we're all out here obviously fucking on this podcast doing something. These are the things that we need to look out for. Right. And me personally, fucking, I've been in this situation where someone has fucking called rape on me fucking twice now.
Yeah.
And fucking moving forward, the first time I was 12 years old when that shit happened.
Wow.
And it makes it fucking hard to just fucking in an interpersonal, emotional level, engage women when you fucking had that shit
and
happen.
it'll be like that for the rest of your life, probably.
Exactly.
Yes.
Fucking,
yes,
and
sure.
this shit's so fucking deep and fucking it's bro, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is a lot. But
just don't rape people and don't accuse people.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. It goes back to not putting yourself in a position.
And I think
to be smart.
I think
I've never been accused of rape, and I've never put myself in the position to be accused of rape.
I think what it really comes down to...
Got the answer. There's a solution.
I think that what it really comes down to is people need to fucking hold accountability, not of other people, but of themselves. And fucking really be able to fucking take an interpersonal look at what they have done. And fucking, if they did fuck up, I'm not saying that someone is not capable of fucking redeeming themselves.
No,
fucking,
exactly.
But if you did do something that is seriously wrong, you need to fucking look introspectively and realize that you did wrong and be better.
Welcome to my side of the train tracks, baby. I've been preaching that for so long.
Well, and
they can.
Logan Paul, when he went and got canceled for the Suicide Forest. I watch Impulsive every time an episode comes out.
Yeah.
And I was following Logan Paul when he was a shitty ass dude. I was following Jake Paul when he was a shitty ass dude. They're not anymore. They grew up.
Yeah.
They're
people change. People change.
Yeah, and I don't even want to call them shitty ass people back in the day. It was a shitty thing to do.
They
were just
immature kids. Yeah.
It was a young kid making a mistake.
Yeah, for sure. People do make mistakes.
Happens.
But here's the thing that shows...
And that was a good example. He was offered redemption. Look at where he's at now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. As long as you're staying on course doing the right thing and you're not continuing to do... You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't trust somebody has changed if they're continuously doing the same shit.
If they keep fucking up, that's an issue.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where the other side comes in.
Correct.
With fucking holding people fucking responsible for what for what they're doing.
I'm a huge proponent of holding. Look in the mirror. Yeah. Most cases you bitch about something, it's probably something you should look at yourself for.
And sometimes it might take an outside source to fucking make you realize
which is fine.
It usually does.
Yep.
It usually takes
which is fine.
It usually takes a complete stranger to be like, "Hey, fucking wake up."
Right.
And then
Wake up, goddamn it.
Exactly. But who cares? As long as you do it and stay on course, man.
Yeah, fucking rape everybody. That's what I have to say.
His anarchy theory. He's got an anarchy theory.
Moving on from that, we're gonna fucking wrap this one up. We're a little bit over an hour. We're gonna end it as we always do with the what you've been sipping on part thing. I do want to start kind of incorporating some fucking like I want to start getting. I need to talk to you after this about some stuff, but I do want to actually have like weekly things that we post with like Your House Our Rules, where what you've been sipping on is like a fucking mixtape or something that we release, like a weekly mixtape. You know how like you know what I'm talking about.
Smiles, yes.
Yeah.
Staying consistent.
So
with
do that.
It.
Fucking.
Yeah.
So I do want to fucking say, check out Beast Dice Volume 1. Fucking, that's the first one we're going to do. That's my fucking baby, the first mixtape that I really like put some effort into and shit like that. Check that on SoundCloud. I'll probably link it in the description. And after that, what you've been sipping on, what media have you consumed this week, Bailey?
Not much, to be honest with you.
Not much.
I go to bed at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Every night, and it feels fucking great. It feels great to slow down and not fucking do anything except for work and lay in bed.
Yeah, especially when we've had the fucking like the September and October that we have had just being
it
fucking
just feels
when it's
great.
dark and 3 o'clock too. That also helps. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks.
It feels great.
And you feel great the next morning, too, because you get up and you're like, I'm ready to just dominate this shit.
Yeah.
So you've been sipping on a lack of media.
Lack of media.
And I'm fine
Self-care.
with it. I'm fine with it. It's
Sometimes
so
you gotta fucking disengage.
I quit vaping. I'm feeling a lot better.
You got to.
Bro, I just fucking got rid of social media. Not all social media. Like I said, I was on Twitter trying to figure that out, but I don't have a following on Twitter. It's not like a big thing. Fucking, I'm not around all friends, but like, I was telling you last weekend, I just, within the last week, re-engaged my fucking Facebook, and, like, I just want to delete the whole thing.
Yeah.
See, the social media thing doesn't really, like...
It doesn't bother me.
I use social media for promotion. I use social media to talk to people that I don't get to talk to.
Yeah.
You know...
It doesn't consume you.
But how often do you look at it?
I mean, every day I look at social media, but it doesn't affect my head.
If
where
you
I'm
don't
like,
do it,
mean,
if you don't do it one day, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
yes.
no.
Both of them get me because I do get a little bit crazy and fucking a little bit.
Well,
over
you
the top
post a lot. You post a lot of shit.
And
I don't.
I haven't as much recently. But what's really getting me the most is just getting on like Facebook. You know how I said before, like it's more personal than like the Twitter side of things.
Yeah.
Like just seeing all this fucking stupid ass bullshit and fucking like little drama and fucking people sneak dissing.
See,
and fucking
that gets
all
at
that
you
shit.
a lot more than it gets at me.
Well, I don't even look at it.
I'm laid back to where I'm just like
that too, but I don't even.
I
look
really
at
don't
it.
give a fuck
Yeah.
what other people are doing. I just got engaged. I'm happy with what I'm fucking doing.
You're worried about what you can control.
I'm not
care.
worried about what other people are doing,
but you're letting it affect you.
When it starts involving me, though, and when you're thinking about an aspect where, like, I have to build this brand and I have to be interconnected with these people, and I don't want to fucking deal with any of them. Well, it fucking starts to get at you a little bit.
Well, then you need to deal with that outside of the social media realm.
That's when you take that like out, like how I was talking to you about like promotion and doing gigs and getting gigs. I have to work with people that I don't like all the fucking time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And do I enjoy it? No.
It sucks.
But I enjoy playing shows and I enjoy throwing shows, so you got to deal with it. And
you know what you can get out of what it is, and that's your long goal.
Yeah.
It has to, but when you're someone like me who fucking is so outspoken and gets a little bit crazy and can fucking pop off fucking really heavily and stuff like that, you need to start like taking yourself back. And fucking when you start taking yourself back, it starts fucking eating at you, because I'm a very strong proponent of like being who I am. Fucking exclusively, but you have to.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
But anyway, moving on. Fucking, what you been sipping on?
Well, we're coming up. Bailey, we just met tonight. I'm a huge Kentucky basketball fan.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, huge Kentucky basketball fan. Yeah, that. I mean, I've got a Kentucky basketball tattoo on my left shoulder.
My family's UK fans as well.
Oh, then you've got a great family. They're great. They're great people. Yeah, so I go on Twitter and Instagram mostly to follow that kind of stuff. YouTube, the well holes of, past games and stuff like that. So I sip on a lot of Kentucky basketball during the season. But other media that I've looked at, so like David Goggins, people in like that motivational realm.
Yeah.
Like
was that the fucking hardest man
the hardest motherfucker on the planet. If you Google, literally, Bailey, if you Google the hardest motherfucker on the planet, David Goggins' name comes up. And it's just,
he showed me that when I was setting this up 2 weeks ago.
That's
pretty dope.
But he's just, it's just like that kind of stuff. I feel like, you know, even like for what people are going through, you know, whatever it is, like I feel like just bringing you back to that mental.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do.
I
do that?
I was thinking that too. But like
I do that when I feel down sometimes.
Listen to some motivational stuff. Joe Rogan's got a lot of good motivational shit too.
Yeah, he does.
Denzel Washington, Jocko Willink, like people. I do that because it's like
it seems corny, but it actually helps.
I know.
Oh, it helps because here's the thing. I go on YouTube and I almost look at like search the person I'd like to hear speak about it, and I search for the topic of which I'm like maybe dealing with on my own.
Yeah.
And I try and get that specific about it, and you find things whether it's from those people or others. And it's just amazing and sometimes I do it at night and I'm just sitting there in bed like, all right, I'm ready to kill it. And it's like, shit, I need to go to bed. Go to sleep, Michael. But I like David Goggins, like they did a little cartoon sketch with him. And they're like, it's like Rogan's on it and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, we're going to be the first people on Mars. And they open the door and here comes David Goggins running up. He's like, "What's up, motherfuckers?" Yeah.
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, he's like, they have a little interaction. He goes, "All right, I'll see you all in Jupiter, motherfucker," and he runs off. And it's like a 2-minute clip, but it's like that's the thing, man. You got to have that mindset and keep. And you know how hard it is to stay consistent with that.
Yeah.
With like just like conquering every fucking day. I've been down that well hole of just trying to maintain that squeeze on life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's something that fucking I've struggled with continuously for fucking years now, fucking especially right now.
Well, I'm telling you, man, that shit it's just
it doesn't help me as much as
but
you
let
would
your
think.
I get it. Got to kind of let the walls down, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you just kind of
like I said, it sounds corny.
It
it's
does.
very hard for me to let my walls down.
It's just like trying anything new.
No.
See,
I'm really good at trying new things. I like to think. But
I'm sure you are.
No, you're not.
I do. But the thing is, fucking.
He's the biggest hater.
I love how Bailey's here just fucking. No, you're not.
I
holding this guy accountable.
I do really
That's
like.
Why I think he likes me.
Full shit. Yes, because you call his ass out.
I do like to try new things, but the problem is, fucking, depending on the mind state that I'm in, like I either love it or I hate it.
Well,
and
see,
fucking
so
when I'm in a bad mind state and I try something new, it's just fucking awful.
I hear you.
It fucking sucks. I don't want to be there. I know I don't want to be there, and I feel like I'm killing everybody else's vibe, and then that fucking puts me in an even worse spot.
Him saying like you got to put yourself into the mindset that you're gonna fucking get it. Mm-hmm. I'm getting to that point again because I was kind of not in a good place for a little bit, and no one knew that I wasn't in a good place. Even Katie was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
But I cut out certain things in my life, and now I feel a lot fucking better.
Isn't that
like,
amazing?
I don't vape. I cut out things. I don't drink early in the week. And I don't.
Here's
it's the first domino that falls, and then all the other.
Yeah, and I'm ready to just not do it.
Now you're disciplined. You're in that mindset of discipline of not going.
Like
back
I'm gonna start getting back in the gym once I get into this new house. I'm gonna get in the gym. Like everything's settled in.
There it is.
I know I'm fat. Leave me alone, Keith.
Oh, shut up. Shut.
That's
up.
not what I was saying. I was just saying good.
Terrible.
Fucking, you're fucking doing the discipline. Fucking
say that about
making
you.
yourself
not even
better.
Close.
And fucking, I have did that, and like I said, deactivating fucking all the social medias and shit I did. It genuinely did help me for a while. And then some other shit happened that fucking has had me fucking spiraling right back down into a fucking another. Yeah, and I'm not going to get into all that bullshit on here, but
that's why it's so important to try and do these, like in the mornings and stuff. When I listen to some of these, it's to stay on course.
Yeah, and you can stray off course. Yeah. That's all right.
And no,
everybody
and
I can, but if you have a good routine and it's positive, like you're saying, like I stopped vaping, I'm going to start working out. Like you've got plans, you're laying a foundation. You can build a fucking beautiful home on top of that foundation.
And I think every time I do have these like little hiatuses.
Do you like that realtor comment? Fuck yeah, Belly.
But I think that every time that fucking we do have these little hiatuses, it does definitely fucking come back a little bit better, even if it does come back a little bit worse.
It starts tonight.
Yeah, and fucking, like I said, I did not want to come and do this podcast tonight.
I know. And you
did. Me neither. I'm so tired.
And how great do you guys feel? We could I bet you we could talk for 3 more hours.
I feel good about this podcast. I'm glad that we did it. Fucking, I'm glad that I pushed forward. I just got to get out of my own head and continue to do the thing.
That's doing something
and
different.
Like I told you, fucking, when it comes down to it, fucking, I need to fucking. I am able to put myself into things to help me distract from other things, and it does in turn fucking make my life better. It's just, when does that switch off again?
That's the part of staying disciplined.
That's how life is, though.
Dude,
you're gonna go up, you're gonna go down, you're gonna go up.
But now I'm trying to fucking incorporate it into a point where fucking we can all hold each other accountable for the fucking shit that we do.
Sometimes people need that shit, but that's called being consistent with the discipline, man.
Yep. Exactly. So
fuck yeah. Hey, it starts tonight, man. Consistency.
It starts tonight. Fucking consistency. You fucking hold us accountable too. Fucking comment on this shit. Fucking hold us accountable for our shit.
Before long, Bailey and I'll do our own thing. We'll kick.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I don't know if you guys could operate this
or
at
shit. Least one of us can be up there.
Hey, I got YouTube, man.
One of us can be up there behind the throne that he's sitting at right now.
I know.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Why does he get the comfy chair?
Because the camera's probably pointing just on him. Look at him. He's looking over. He's like, "Oh shit!" You know,
that's not how I did this at all.
I might not have angled that.
Okay, you know what? Fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Fucking, this has been episode
Fuck you too.
42 of Your House Our Rules. Fucking, we love y'all. Fucking, peace.
See ya.
Hell yeah.